forgot that one, Anna. Watagwan. Who's Jamaican? Watagwan. Good morning, everybody. My name is Deani Winter-Funde, and I am the campus director here at Cooley Law School. And this is my third year doing the keynote speech, so thank you to the United States Customs and Immigration Services. Thank you, Mr. Evans. Thank you to the wonderful staff for allowing me this selfish privilege, because that's what it is. Asking me to talk about myself, asking me to talk about my life. You know, when I laid in bed last night, and I've been working on this perfect speech, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say that, and I said, why would you write a speech about your life, about your journey? So each year, I struggle with the idea of, do I tell the same story? Do I tell the same story about the little girl in 1996 who got on the plane with her little daughter, who was 4 years old, with one suitcase and $20 American in her pocket, coming to this country? Do I share that story? And I was like, let me tell it every year, Deani. And as a woman, as an immigrant woman, your story does not change. It doesn't change. People are going to get tired of hearing you talk about where you're from, the decision that led you to this country, but your story will not change. And so today, as part of my keynote, you're going to hear my story, because it has not changed. Before I even start my speech, and I know it's about women, but I know in the corner of every powerful woman are the family members, the husband, the son, the children. I want you women to acknowledge your family members today for supporting you on this wonderful journey. Let's give your family members a round of applause. So I migrated to this country back in 1996. Prior to that, my mother, who is the hero of my story, had to make a tough decision. And I imagine she sat in bed with my daddy. Daddy, stand up. That's my dad. Thank you. So I often wondered what that story was like when my dad and my parents at the time, back in Jamaica, there were 7 children, and they had to make a decision who was going to go. Back then, they were not going to give 2 parents visas to migrate to the United States, because what's going to happen? We're not going to go back, meaning we're not going to go back. So my mom, and I wish I was a fly on the wall back in 1987, when my dad and my mother, they're having this conversation about who's going to go, who's going to be brave enough, first of all, to go to the United States Embassy in Kingston and apply for a United States visa, which in Jamaica is like winning the lottery. And my dad made the decision that my mother was going to go. And I think, you know, I like to think that my mom was a stronger one, but I also think my dad was strong too, because he was going to have to raise 7 of us. I'm the baby of 7. And so the decision was made that my mother was going to migrate to the United States. And she did that back in 1987. I was 13 years old. So I didn't see my mother again until I was 21, and I was then a mother. So imagine the trouble I gave that poor man sitting in the corner. But it's a story of resilience. It's a story of believing in yourself, and the story of a woman does not change. So my theme for this year is talking about overcoming obstacles and achieving joyful accomplishment. Your story begins today. This is like a birthday. This is a new birthday for you. I still remember when I became a naturalized citizen back in 2002, and it was like this new beginning, the energy of starting over, of getting this second chance to begin your story. What you have to decide going forward from today is, how will your story end? One day you're going to be asked to stand at a podium like this, and you're going to have to tell your story. What does your story become now that you're a United States citizen? So leading up to this, we had the green card in the pocket, the green card in the purse. We followed the speed limit, right? We didn't commit any crimes because our lawyer somewhere told us that this day was coming, so you had to prepare for it. And try your best to be a good person, a citizen, a good woman. That doesn't end today. In fact, it gets worse. Because now you are going to be the example in your community that you want others to look up to. And that is your story. I want to talk a little bit about stories of persistence, because you had to persist to get through to today. So as part of my duty, I have to also retest you on the civic portion of the naturalization test before you get your certificate. Who's ready? Nobody? That's a joke. No, you do not have to retest. You don't have to retest. So you also have the right now to vote. You also have the right to travel with a United States passport. I hope you go on and get your passport today, because that is also a right that you have. In February 2017, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts was silenced at a confirmation hearing. So in other words, they told her to shut up. You're telling a senator to shut up or be quiet. She did not shut up. She was in the middle of reading a letter authored, and she wanted them to hear this letter, and they would not listen. The explanation was that she was taking too long to finish her speech. She continued reading anyway. She persisted. I hate to tell you that your voices may or may not still be heard. One, you're a woman. Two, you're a minority woman. I want to talk about Time's Up. I want to talk about Me Too, but that has been our reality way before Hollywood got on board with Me Too and Time's Up. Many of us have gone through bad relationships to get here today. Many of us have suffered through places of employment where our voice is not heard. How many times have you heard, can you pronounce that word again? Can you say it again? I don't understand you. How many times have you tried to warm up your lunch in the microwave and they ask you, what's that smell? Many of us have been through that. I found my voice, I want to say maybe 5, 6 years ago. Now I'm not afraid to use my voice to assist others around me. Now that you're a United States citizen, you will have to use your voice to help others. You see, many people in the place of employment, they're going to stay quiet for whatever reason. Maybe it has to do with what their immigration status is. You cannot sit back and allow that to happen. After today, you have found your voice. Miss Cuba, Miss Haiti, Miss Colombia, Miss Thailand, Miss Jamaica, wherever you go in church, your place of employment, your neighborhood, your community, you are going to be that voice for the less fortunate. You cannot say, I did it this way, therefore you should do it this way. You have to say, now that I have my voice, I will use my voice to help others. Silence is complicity. If you know there's anything, any wrongdoing going on where you work, you cannot remain silent. Silence is complicity. I go back to my story. I'm now the mother of 2. I'm now a licensed attorney, and I'm not bragging, but Jamaica, you know what brag, right? Jamaicans love to brag. So, I took full opportunity, I made full use of this opportunity. I don't care what anybody around the world says, America is still one of the greatest countries on this planet. I would not trade the life I've been able to make here with myself and my family for anything else. I would not trade that life for anywhere else. We have a saying in our culture where we give individuals their roses while they're alive. Years ago, before my mom passed, she passed in 2016, I always sent her roses. So one of the things I'm going to do today, I'm going to present each one of you with a rose. I'm going to ask my Kuli women to come forward, and you'll each be presented with a rose. And Sean, too. Sean, come on up. We're going to ask everyone to just go around the room and hand the rose to each woman. I hope the men are paying attention. From now on, you're going to bring home roses on the weekend.
All the time.
There you go. Does everyone have a rose? Can all my beautiful women please stand? First, I want you to turn to the woman next to you, acknowledge her, and say congratulations.
The woman next to me.
I want to welcome each and every one of you as a United States citizen. It's a proud moment, and it will hit you when you've traveled outside of the country and you arrive at the airport, whether it's Miami, Orlando, Tampa, or New York. You're going to see two lines. One to the left that says, everybody else, and one to the right that says United States citizen. Promise me when you get to that counter and the officer, TSA, looks at you and say, welcome home, Miss whoever, I was going to say Miss Gianni. When they say to you, welcome home, Miss Gianni, I want you to just pause and enjoy the moment. It is a beautiful thing, and I want you to enjoy it. I also want you from today to think of yourself as writing your own story. What is your story going to be, and how will it end? Your story should include treating every woman around you like how you want to be treated, even if they're treating you less than. It does not mean they're going to be kind to you. It does not mean they're going to address you how you want to be addressed. You have to prepare for the slights. You all know what the slights are. The past of promotion, the meetings where you're not invited. You know what they are. So I want you to use those moments and find your own voice. On behalf of myself and all the beautiful women here at Cooley today, I say congratulations, and I wish you all the best. You may be seated. Thank you.